if these cuts stand, the class sizes are just going to increase, and the ability for an educator to reach out and educate a student, it's going to become a lot more difficult.
Wow. Dr. Moody or Miss Dr. Moody?
Mrs. Moody, Gina,
Miss Moody.
doesn't matter.
In your school, it's Palmer.
Yes.
What's the ratio of black and white students at Palmer?
Well, we are a city school, so the majority of our student population are African American. So we don't have the diversity in our particular school as our Newark counterparts do, because Christina, remember, is non-contiguous. So we're in the city of Wilmington as well as in Newark. So we have we have mostly African American students.
I hear a lot about the Christina School District in the news a lot, and I know that it's you all are being affected, and I pray for Christina. I pray for you all, and I'm gonna consider my faith I have. I just think it's already done. So a lot of these things that are happening are just it's in the air. They want change, but here's the deal: is it going to end? You know what I mean? Say for instance, if it doesn't pass, is it going to end? It's going to be something else. So we want to focus on it passing. How do we get the parents out to vote, and especially inner city?
We've had several strategies where we deal with inner city as well as in Newark, because we are one school district. So we've had teams at different schools. We've gone out on walk in the community to give out flyers, because we want to make sure that our residents make an informed decision on May 27th. And I think that's the biggest thing, is not just not going out to vote, but what am I going out there for? What does this mean for me? How much money are we talking? What does that mean for my child in the classroom? So a lot of it is getting making phone calls home. Just, do you have any questions? When parents come up to pick up students, we give out flyers. We do segments such as this. Mr. Ingram has been very instrumental on being a public spokesperson for us, so I thank him for that. And just being an earpiece. We've had public forums in our school district. Our district administrators have been there, so any questions that anyone or any concerns that we've had, they were there to answer. So we tried this in February. It did not pass. It was not successful, and the biggest comment or complaint was from our residents is that we didn't know anything about it. What does it mean? You didn't give us any information. So from February 25th until now, we've been pretty transparent as much as we possibly could.
So that's in the city. As far as the suburban areas, Newark area, are they coming out to vote? Are they supporting it? Referendum.
They're pretty much doing the same thing that they're doing in the city. Right.
Wish they all could have come on. That would have been really awesome. Right. It's teamwork.
Right.
We really need to. We have to get our. We have a fixed mindset in a reactive city where we should really have a growth mindset in a proactive city, and because of that mindset, we experience these problems. And at the end of the day, the kids are hurting. Right. I mean, you get rid of teachers, and then the class size grows. How do we teach the kids? I'm a firm believer learning is a biological change in behavior. There's that word change again. Biological change in behavior. And we need to change our behavior, and we need to really put the kids first. That's what the HBCU Delaware Coalition is about, really. Coming together to work as one. And why I decided for HBCU, well, I'm from Norfolk State University, and an awesome experience I had. These kids will not get an opportunity to experience any college if these type of referendums don't pass. So we really need to work hard on the referendum as far as passing it, and I think it will happen. I understand in Christina School District, they don't let the nurses go. And I don't know for sure. This is what I hear.
Well, there are proposed cuts. I mean, there's cuts all the way across the board. I mean, there's administrative cuts to teacher cuts to programmatic cuts. I mean, it's not specific to any specific category, but those are all part of the equation when it comes down to having to limit the amount of funds that you have available. And right now we are at a deficit. No matter what happens, even if the referendum does pass, we still have to make permanent cuts of $1.9 million just to kind of keep afloat and keep what's going on. I think the biggest misconception with the community now is that we are asking for funds for a surplus, but we're really just asking for funds to maintain the programs that we have right now. I think that the focus has shifted from what it should be, which is the students, and I think that we're losing sight of that a lot of times. And when people go out and make the vote, they're focusing on the dollar amount. Not that money's not important, because I know that money is important. People have bills and responsibilities to take care of their family, but I think that if we understand that students are premier and paramount responsibility, and if we focus on them and educate them and give them all the opportunities to be successful, then the community in itself will increase and the community itself will become better. And that's the message that we've all been trying to get out, and that's just basically that this is about students. This is not about Christina School District. This is not about any other district. This is about students. And I think that all districts pretty much do the same thing. I don't think that any district goes out just asking for money just because they want it. I think that they're going out because they want to supply the best opportunity for their students.
So I get it. So you all have AVID program, of course, sure.
Right.
So and that'll be affected too, the AVID program.
Could.
And I speak of AVID because a lot of those kids go to HBCU schools.
Right.
You know, I mean, a lot of the honor students, they tend to go to the Harvards or the Yales or the University of Delaware.
That was a shot at me, huh?
But it's okay. And then they go pledge Kappa. Stop. No, but it's all good. I said Kappa is this national? No, this is local TV. But anyway, it's serious. We need you, Wilmington. We need you, Newark. We need you to get out and vote. I mean, how do they say it? Exercise your right. We tend to take it for granted, but if you realize there is power in numbers, and once we get that mindset, there are power in numbers. And really, it doesn't matter, because sometimes we get caught up in a race thing, you know. And it doesn't matter whether you're black or white. It matters if you're wrong or right. And this is the right time for us to come together. We have got to get this thing together for our youth. I'm tired of the state saying, I better be careful. I'm tired of the state saying that schools are failing. You know, and they come up with all kinds of evaluation systems for teachers. And sometimes are these evaluation systems effective? What I'd like to see is just that students grow. And growth doesn't have to be in leaps and bounds. You can grow very small, but as long as you're growing, I think that'd be beneficial, especially with the referendum. They really need to get out and vote. Anything that you need to add regarding the referendum?
Actually, to dovetail on what you just said, and I just had this conversation in the room, I'm a big proponent of professional development. So if we're trying to find out the innovative ways to get our students to grow, then I as a practitioner need to know how to do that. And without the funds to be able to engage in certain type of professional development activities, we don't get to grow. So just like I wouldn't want my child sitting in a classroom with a practitioner doing the same instructional strategies from 20 years ago, I wouldn't want that of my doctor who's performing an operation on me. Right. So we need to I need to continue to grow. I'm looking up things, what webinars I can go on to kind of attack certain deficit skills or areas that I want to fill gaps in. But a lot of times if that professional development is in Philadelphia, there's a registration fee. And it ties right back to students and how does the teacher use his or her knowledge to bring it back to the classroom. And that's what we need. We need our students to be able to compete with his or her peers down the road, across the state line, across the country, and across the pond. So, and we can't do that if we don't have those innovative resources tied to STEM, tied to the arts, tied to business. So we need those human resources as well as our physical resources.
Interesting.
Opportunities.
Yes, opportunity, you're right. And it is an opportunity for the referendum to pass. So we have to get out and vote, and your vote counts. Bottom line. Bottom line, if you don't vote, your child may experience some issues. There may be 50 kids in one class. Wow. Can you imagine 50 kids in one class?
I mean, I think that ultimately not even just to focus on what it's going to be like for the teachers. I think we need to really just focus on what it's going to be like for the children. The students in the schools, it's not fair to them to have 49 other, students in their classroom. That's not effective. It's proven that the smaller class size, the more a student's going to learn, the more opportunities they are to collaborate with one another, to have differentiated instruction. When you have that big of a size, it's almost impossible to reach out and touch each student in that way, whether it's developing the personal relationships or moving them forward academically. So I think ultimately needs to be a lot more focus on the kids. This isn't about what your personal feelings are towards Christina School District. This is about the students who the Christina School District serve.
So how do the teachers feel anyway regarding the referendum?
I really feel like with the teachers that I've had these conversations with, specifically teaching in the city, I think you do face some different difficulties than you do in the suburbs, and that's not taken away. I'm not saying that teaching in suburban schools easier than in the city or vice versa. Anyway, I think that the teachers in the city that want to be there, that I've spoken to because I work in an inner city school, agree with me. It's not just about, of course everybody wants to have a job because it's about their livelihood as well. But ultimately they're looking ahead like, if we can do something to move these students forward, that's not going to just benefit them, that's going to benefit us. I think while the focus needs to be on the students, I think a lot of people aren't seeing the whole picture.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's important that you all share, because people don't see the picture. They go by what they hear, and a lot of times they hear negative. And we need to get caught, forget that negative. We need to focus on positive and doing what's right. And I get it. How does it affect the administrators, the referendum? And I do understand we're talking, everyone needs a job.
Right.
But how does it, let me ask you this, how does it affect you, every day, knowing that this is in the back of your mind and you still have to go forth, and do what your job with the kids? And it has to affect.
Well, of course you focus on the hope that it's going to be successful, and business can be run as usual. But of course you have to think, and we do think, not too far in the front, because we have a job to do right now. We have students that come in every single day to need our support, and they need us, teachers who need our support, and just collaboratively working together to make sure that they're successful this year. Ultimately, if something were to happen next year, you have to plan. So the summer will be an opportunity for us to plan and kind of think about what that looks like. Obviously, increased class sizes will affect administration, because then we have to think about how we can better support our teachers to be able to support our students. Because the teachers are the front line, and they're the ones who are ultimately responsible for educating those students and making sure they are successful. We kind of oversee what that is and give them the support necessary, and engage and collaborate with them to make sure that they're able to carry that out. But it's difficult to think what could potentially happen if this is not successful. We know that the amount of resources that will be lost as a result of that could be detrimental to not only us, but like Mr. Majeski said, the students. They are the ones that ultimately will lose in this if they're not successful. And just to kind of jump back onto what you said before about information and getting it out there and making sure that people will truly understand, there's a lot of misinformation out there as well. And we wanted to try to, and by us going out and sharing that information with everybody at the meetings and going to homes and knocking on doors, civic association, going to the high rises to talk to seniors, city council and all those kinds of things, is just to give them the correct information to let them know this is why we truly need these funds. This is why we're asking for this, because it's for our students. And it's something that's natural. It's something that happens every 3 to 5 years. This is not just okay, we mismanaged our money, we didn't do what we were supposed to do, we're not fiscally responsible. It has nothing to do with any of that. We are operating on funds that we received in 2010, and it is 2015. Every year, money and money and utilities and those kinds of things, they increase. And if you're operating with 2010 money, it's kind of hard to pay for something in 2015.
Wow. So. And when I think about it, it's a big picture, because with the referendum, it's very low. If you look out in the community right now, their lack of skills can kill, and will. A lot of this crime is happening because there are kids that are unskilled. Right. So if they're unskilled and they're killing each other now because of territory, because they have to survive, what will happen then when you have 50 kids in one class, and then they have to survive too. So they're not getting the skill. And a lot of times we have students that use a homegrown adjective in the classroom. And so we tend not to correct it with a more positive adjective, more positive adjective, and we put the kid out of class. And then he's missing that skill. And then it just goes over and over. So everything, it starts from the ground up. It's a problem, and they say it's the system, but I just think that it's going to be even worse if it doesn't pass. That's how serious this is, because I'm looking at right now in the community, and I'm looking at kids. The reason why kids are in a position right now because they don't have skills. Kids need to read, write, and be able to do arithmetic. Bottom line, without it, they're not going to be able to survive. Then they go on the corners, and they get guns, they get drugs, and they got to protect their territory. We don't want that. It's important that the referendum passes. It's very important, because then it'll be a lot more kids out there doing the same thing, and we can't have that. So I'm passionate for you. So you have to understand, because I love kids and I like to see them grow, and we do whatever. Listen, teachers don't become teachers just because of money. Teachers become teachers because of the passion and the love that they have for kids, and that's the reason why you do what you do. So it's very important that it happens, it passes. Any other thing that you might want to add?
I'm going to borrow a phrase from my pastor, Pastor Bullock, and he always says, education, not incarceration. Along with that is one thing for us to say that our scholars need the skills necessary to compete in this global society. And if there are deficits or extra supports that they need, we engage and partner with outside agencies to help with the social and emotional well-being of our scholars. And that, too, is another area of funding that would be very helpful, beneficial, because I have to recognize that's not my lane, that's not my everyday life. So I need to go over here and ask someone to help partner, to be a village, to help this young man and this young lady. And I have to go out there, but services cost money.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to reach out. We need the funding for that. So that it's just, nothing is in isolation. Everything's interwoven, everything's interconnected. So we can't say we should have smaller class sizes. Where did that come from? Where does that come from?
Yeah, and community, understand that it takes, like a village, takes everyone. So when we talk about the referendum, it affects the churches, it affects local government, it affects the city government. In fact, the city government, I'm just curious if they're even pushing the referendum, because it affects everyone. Believe it or not, in some way, it affects the city government as well. Because guess what? If these kids don't have anything to do, see, the city governs. So if they don't have anything to do, right, because there's so many of them in the classroom, they got to have more police on the street. So it's going to affect everyone. That's how serious this is. So.
And Wilmington being the largest city in the state of Delaware, we know that Wilmington drives the state pretty much.
See?
Just like if you were in Baltimore or Philadelphia, the major cities are the ones that drive the revenue, that drive opportunities. And if there are not opportunities available, then of course, we find ourselves in a situation where we are now. So our best opportunity for Wilmington to continue to be prominent and for the state of Delaware to continue to flourish is for us to work on what's going on with our students, because they are the next people in line to be able to take care of all of us one day and to be able to provide the future, essentially. Yeah. So the community needs the children to be successful. The community's success is tied into the children's success, and we have to do everything possible to make sure that they are successful. So if that means that we need to think about changing our lives for $15 a month, if that's what it means, then that's something that I think that we have to do. Even if you don't have children, you have to understand that the children are the ones who basically are the next in line for the jobs and the positions within the community. So it's not about whether or not you have kids, it's about children, because somebody voted for you while you were in school to be successful, because this is not something that's brand new or something that's not been going on for years and years. So I don't see why you can't vote for them because somebody did it for you.
I get it. Fifth grade teacher?
I just to kind of jump on what they were saying. I mean, it's not just affecting the city of Wilmington. It's affecting Newark, because Christina School District is also in Newark. So it's not just affecting the teachers in the city and the students in the city. So I think, coming together and realizing that, just getting out there and voting is going to have an effect on the success of these students. And it's, we talked a lot about the city, but it's not just the students in the city, it's students in the Christina School District.
Yeah. Yeah.
And may I add is also Christina charter school students and choice students. So the button that I'm wearing representing is actually Christina Charter Choice, We All Win, and it's actually a website that gets any pertinent information that our constituents would need in order to make an informed decision when they go to vote. Because the monies, if students decide or parents decide to send their child to a charter school, Christina funds that transfer.
Wow.
So we need the funds for that transfer. Yes, we want to keep them at home, but everyone has to make their decision for their own child, and we respect that. So, but the funding follows the students, whether they go to a choice school in a different district or to a charter school, or if they remain at home.
Right. Parents, understand it's not about $15. It's not about the money. It's about your child being successful. It's about your child being able to take care of you when you're at the retirement age. So it's very important that the referendum does pass. As they say, children are our future. So we have to take care of them. We have to love them. We have to nurture them. In order for us to retire, I don't know that I'll be able to retire. I have little kids now. But maybe one of these days. So I get it. Is there anything that you would like to add, Mr. Ingram, regarding the referendum? Something that's going to capture everyone. Listen, you better come on out and vote. I mean, you can't tell people you better. I can, but you can't, but I have to be a little more professional about it. But.
I think that we've pretty much captured a lot of that, but I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that there is an operating referendum for the Christina School District next Wednesday, May the 27th, and it's at all the Christina School District schools. That's where you have an opportunity to vote. Right now, we're asking for 37 cents over a 3-year period, so that's 28 cents for the first year. 4 cents for the 5 cents for the second year, and then 3 for the third year, and basically that breaks down to approximately $14 per month. So our goal is to give you all the information so you can make an informed decision about your children and the children of Wilmington, the children of Newark, the state's children, essentially is who they are, about their future, and make an informed decision about thinking about that increase in the tax to be able to help support that, because again, the children are the future, the communities depend on that, and the community's success and the children's success are linked together. One doesn't trump the other.
And 3 things to go vote: you need to be 18 years old, a resident of the Christina School District, and also have to have proof of address, so identity, proof of ID. And you do not need to be a registered voter. Now, I'm all for everyone being a registered voter, but that does not negate your opportunity to cast your vote on May 27th.
And should you be a homeowner?
You don't have to be a homeowner.
So you can be a renter?
You can be a renter, absolutely.
There you go, community. You can rent. If you're living in the house and you know that you're renting, go vote. If you live on Clayton Street, Byard's available. If you live on Pine Street, Bancroft's available. I'm not too sure over there.
Southbridge.
If Southbridge,
But
Palmer's.
some of our families live near Byard, so they can go to Byard to cast their vote.
And I believe this is going to, if anything, it's going to bring the community, the district closer together, and stop hearing about this negative energy. Once we work together, I'm telling you, this state, this city, this state, this country, it can flourish. Right. But it takes times like this. And the God I serve, I know that, change is good. Mm-hmm. Because if it's not good change, watch this. If it's not good change, it just doesn't make good sense. So it's important that we get out and we take care of our kids. That's what it's about, the kids, really. And if the kids, they need a place to go learn. Mm-hmm. And again, if when I look at it, if the class size is large, it creates too many problems. You got elbow space, you know what I mean? Then you have different personalities. I can't see it. So I pray, and I know that God will he's going to make the right. He said, you know, God, I'm telling you, I'm faithful. I'm telling you, so I know that this time it will pass, and this too will pass, and then it will be the past, which is history, or his version of the story. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. With that being said, I thank you all for tuning into HBCU Delaware Talks. I thank you all from the school district, Christina School District, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I thank God for you all for watching over our children, teaching our children, and giving them opportunity, because children are first. And I thank God because I went to Bayard. When it was Bayard Middle School years ago, it was built in 1973. So I wasn't at Bayard in 73, Mr. Ingram. But I'm just saying, I went to Bayard. And we had struggles because of desegregation. That changed things. Then they had the strike, you know, when I was in school. So that changed things. So it's always going to be something. Now, it's not going to be an end. It's just going to be change. So again, I thank you for tuning in, and thank you for tuning in to HBCU Delaware Talks.
Tune in to HBCU Delaware Talks. Tune in to HBCU Delaware Talks.
I'm Steve Washington, your host of HBCU Delaware Talks. I'm here celebrating student success at Delaware State 360.
My main priority was to continue my education at an HBCU. So I have been more than happy being at Delaware State University. Like, Delaware State University actually has changed my life. I love Delaware State University and the culture, the atmosphere, like everything about Del State, I honestly just love. Tune in to HBCU Delaware Talks.
What's going on, HBCU schools? I like what Delaware State is doing, but what direction are you going? Where are you going right now as far as some of your programs and what you have to offer?
Well, what's exciting about what's happening at Delaware State right now is that we have some outstanding science programs. Just today,
that right?
NASA just announced 10 universities that will receive a $5 million grant to work on STEM, and Delaware State was part of that process, and it's something that is consistent with what we have on campus. If you come on campus, you'll see a brand new science building that's going up.
Yes.
State-of-the-art facility, it's $18 million facility, and it aligns perfectly with what we've been talking about in terms of elevating our programs and making sure that we have programs that are relevant and also competitive, and we're being responsive to the community in terms of creating an opportunity for underrepresented students to go into the STEM disciplines, and that's something that we take a great deal of pride in.
So I see that Delaware State, we have a campus on DuPont High.
Right.
How can we draw more students from the Wilmington area to Delaware State University? Because I need a lot of information on Delaware State. So I can
Right. And that's one reason why we're here tonight in Wilmington.
Excellent.
Is because we want to get the word out in Wilmington.
Yes, sir.
We for some reason, people feel that 45 minutes down the road is a long way, and just get on Route 1 and come on down south. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight, is to not only connect with our alums in this area, but also to celebrate the students that are going to be graduating. And just for some information, we have a very strong Kent County alumni chapter. And for those high schools